Hello and welcome to the Elephant and Bear podcast, the show dedicated to interesting tales from around Coventry and Warwickshire. I'm your host, Neil Young, and in today's show we welcome Taruna Chauhan, an award-winning businesswoman based in Coventry. Taruna, please can you tell the audience about yourself?
I'm Taruna from Chauhan Consultancy. I've been running my business for 10 years. I've always worked from home because it suits me. I didn't see the point of renting an office when I didn't really need to. If I need to see clients, sometimes usually have to go on site anyway, so that's fine. And I have a Costa near me, so I'm able to meet them there if I need to, so that's convenient. I'm a consultant, coach and mentor, and I work with private clinics to help them with all things standards compliance. So that's both working with the Care Quality Commission and also in Scotland with Health Improvement Scotland. So if people need to be registered with either of those statutory bodies, I'm the person that can come to see to help them to do that. And as part of that, I do mentoring and coaching in that niche.
Fantastic. And you are now, like I say, an award-winning businesswoman. So tell us a bit about the award that you won and the process that you got to so you end up winning that award.
Yeah, I did, which was amazing. So it's the winner for the Women Who Works From Home Award, which is great because I've been working from home for 10 years. What the judges liked was, although I work from home, sometimes it's seen, if you're a business working from home, you're seen as, a sole trader and somebody who just works, on a little hobby, if you like. But I've actually got a nationwide business. I work with clinics all over the UK. England, not Wales, because CQC is in England. Wales has their own statutory body for that. And what the judges said is I'm also an author and a podcaster. So what they liked was that I was able to have a national business and grow my business whilst working from home. So that's why I won in my category. And it's quite interesting because I could have given up. I was a finalist for the third year running. There were a couple of years I didn't even make it to the final. But I kept going. I kept learning from what the judges had said to me or the questions that they'd asked. And I thought, I didn't really answer that well. So each time I completed the nomination, I made sure I completed it to the best of my ability. And actually, when you enter an award, what it does is gives you that helicopter view of your business that we don't always do for ourselves because we're so busy working with our clients in our business. And it's really easy to forget to look at our business from a sort of outsider's perspective. So going for the Women Who Awards gets you to look at your business from an outsider's perspective because they ask you some key questions. So for me, it's interesting to see how I've grown year on year.
Yeah, fantastic. And ultimately, as well, like I say, there's the old quote about working on your business rather than working in your business. And I guess going for that award has allowed you to understand the gaps in your business in a similar way to how you help private clinics. Would that be fair to say, Taruna?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's always easy to look at other people's businesses than your own, because you're looking at their business objectively. It's harder, isn't it, when you have your own business to look at it objectively sometimes. So that's what it got me to do was, look at the questions and think, oh, what am I doing? How am I managing marketing? How am I managing my finances? Have I thought about where I want to be in 12 months' time? Have I thought about where I want to grow? How do I want to grow? There's different ways to grow. You don't always have to employ people. I want to grow, but in a way by collaborating with people and having joint ventures rather than employing people. But that's a choice I've made. So it gives you the opportunity to look at all those kind of areas.
And over the last 10 years, technology has moved on considerably in terms of working from home. So how have you found that development over the years?
It's not really changed. And I guess if anything, the pandemic, I found it easier because I was already doing it. I already had the setup. So for me, it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't a change. and my work was still there, because a lot of the time I worked remotely anyway, because when I'm doing applications, I don't need necessarily to go to client site. I can get all the information I need from them by creating templates. And also, it means I'm being, my carbon footprint is kept low, and I'm really quite, if I can reduce my carbon footprint, I will do, because I want to be as eco-friendly as I can. And sometimes people think, oh, only corporate businesses can be eco-friendly or have corporate social responsibility, but even small businesses can do that little bit. So I like to think I'm doing my bit by working from home as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'm speaking to another lady in the coming weeks who is very much about promoting sustainability within small businesses as well as kind of the bigger businesses as well. Obviously, in terms of the mentoring and coaching that you do, that's obviously a lot with small business owners, which also our listeners are. So obviously with all the stresses of the modern world, Taruna, do you have any tips or recommendations that can help the residents of Coventry and Warwickshire?
I think I have a few tips, but a key is always make sure that you have some time for yourself, because it's so easy when you have your own business that you feel like you have to be always working and not switch off. So, make a date in the diary to have time out with your family or by yourself to do something you enjoy. And also, please make sure that you are not only hydrated, so I always have water by my side, but also make sure you're eating a nutritious lunch. Plan your meals. Even today I was talking to a client. She said, oh, sometimes, I don't eat all day and then I have a meal in the evening. She knows that's not a really good way of working long term. So it's about what can you do that's going to make your life easy. So it's about, I do meal planning. I'm busy as much as somebody else, but you know what? We all have 24 hours in the day to do what we need to do. So planning is key when you're a business owner. And I also know that as a small business owner, we wear different hats. 1 minute you're doing marketing, next minute you're looking at finance and accounts and doing your bookkeeping. You have to be a jack of all trades. But if you're trying to do that every day, it's going to be hard. So choose a day when you're going to do admin, choose a day when you're going to do your bookkeeping. And then if you're consistent with it, it helps you. So that's another tip I've learned. And the other thing is, don't just come to your desk, whether it's at the kitchen table or I'm lucky I have my own office, but don't just come rolling into your office and, oh, let's see what the day brings me. You should know what the day is going to bring you. You should have it planned. You should know exactly what's going to be coming towards you. Now, that's going to sound counterintuitive, but if you have a really planned diary, actually, it's easier to move things around when things happen. So those are some of my tips.
Please excuse this brief interruption. This podcast is made possible by Plan with Neil. Plan with Neil is an independent financial advisor from Coventry, helping people improve their financial well-being by supporting them with retirement planning, life insurance, and much more. Please check out the website planwithneil.com and book a free discovery session today. Now, back to the podcast. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, definitely. Around kind of the planning of the work, and I do a lot of trying to kind of batch some of my work up. So if I know I'm going to be doing work on the podcast, or whether I'm doing work for clients, having it all in the kind of the one place. And if I'm doing client appointments, I try to kind of do those on maybe 1 or 2 days a week where I'm kind of out and about driving. I find it a lot more beneficial because your head is then focused, isn't it, into the right stage, and obviously in terms of the nutrition and kind of making sure you're getting the right relaxation as well. We are not machines, are we? So it's about looking after ourselves, which obviously I know that you're a keen believer in. Okay, so obviously, this is a podcast about Coventry and Warwickshire. Previously, you weren't from Coventry. Obviously, you're now living in Coventry. But how would you describe Coventry and Warwickshire to outsiders, Taruna?
For me, it's got little gems throughout. It's just finding them. I'm lucky. I live near Coombe Abbey, so that's lovely. And even with Coombe Abbey, I've seen it grow over the years. So before it was just like a park, but now they have, Go Ape and other things, and they've got a cafe, and all that's been added. I know they have the banqueting and the wedding, and they, consistently adding things. There's always things there for the children to do as well. So when my children were young, we used to sort of see what was happening, and go there. So it's nice to have those little gems, which, and Coombe Abbey had been derelict for a little while before somebody bought it and then converted it to the hotel it is now. So it's nice to have that to go to. And even, over lockdown, I had a meeting with somebody, and even I discovered a part of Coombe Abbey which I'd not seen. So it's got, you always sort of find something, oh, I didn't know that was there, or that's interesting. So that's really good. And the other things are, in Coventry and Warwickshire. So you've got Kenilworth. It's really nice to go to Kenilworth. There's nice shops, and sometimes I'll meet my friends for a walk around Abbey Fields. So that's a nice area to park the car, meet my friends, go for a walk. And there's a few nice cake shops there, which are independent. So that's always nice to meet people there. And then, obviously, a little bit further afield, you've got Stratford-upon-Avon, so you can go and see the theatre. So, there's little things to do within Coventry itself. Obviously, because we were a city of culture, there was lots happening there. So that was nice to sort of see that. And, you've got the Empire that has been done up, and you've got some things happening there. And I know I've just seen a show that's going to happen in a few months' time, and it looks really good. So that's, things are changing and I think improving. And now you've got the town centre, and you've got, Flannels as open. So that brings in a different type of clientele. So it's all those little things you've got. So you've got a mixture of where you can go to, like, be in the nature. And I'm lucky, I'm really close to Wyken Reserve, which I can go to for walks. I've got Cullinan Castle Park near me. So all those little gems, although we're in the city, all those little gems you have close by and a bit further afield, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the strengths, particularly, obviously we're both on the same side of the city, having, those pockets of kind of green space. It doesn't have to be a big green space, but it's just so nice to kind of visit, as well as obviously then the amenities of, Flannels in the city centre, or, being able to see, gigs at the Empire, or shows at the Empire as well. Really got kind of, the best of both worlds with all of that, which is great. Now, if you were working for the tourist board in Coventry and Warwickshire, what would be the focus of your promotions, Taruna?
I think it would be the Transport Museum and the Herbert Art Gallery. They're both really great places to go and visit. But also, there's a lady I know, she does walking tours. So if you do that, you'll see areas of Coventry which you may not pick up as a tourist. So I think that would be good. And I always say to people, if you're in a new place, go and find the tourist information office and see what they have to offer, because they're always really useful. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, but I know a couple of people that do the walking tours around Coventry, and there is so much kind of hidden history within Coventry. Some focus on the darker aspects, the criminal aspects of the kind of the historic past, and then others talk about the more kind of traditional history. But there is so much to delve into, so much that most Coventrians probably don't know that they can tap into, as well as obviously really kind of first class museums, and the Transport Museum, and obviously the Herbert Art Gallery as well.
And I think that even the Watch Museum, I think it opens certain times in the month or something, you have to know, which I didn't even know there was a watch museum, but until somebody mentioned it. So it's like little things that you find out. And I've been in Coventry for quite a few years now, but I find out little things, and things that, like you said, history that you don't know about. Like if you go into town, there's information about the river and how it meanders through Coventry and that's quite interesting. I do like history, so I always find it interesting to see how the town is growing and what the history was and what the landscape was like before and how it's changing now. So I think it's always interesting.
Yeah, the River Sherborne, how it kind of, it's almost underneath us for a lot of the city centre is always interesting to think about in terms of you don't realise that you could be there for decades, not realising that there's kind of a river running underneath, which is brilliant as well.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing, I don't know if you've noticed, when you're walking around town, you can see the old town wall.
Yeah. And the different gates and stuff that you can see, and thinking about how small it would have been, but still such a powerful city at that point within that, those few square miles. Fantastic. Now, in terms of the people of Coventry, is there a person that you associate with Coventry and Warwickshire, Taruna?
Yeah, the one that came to mind was George Eliot, because I've been to George Eliot Hospital, but you see the statue and that, and when you look at George Eliot and the history and everything, it's quite an interesting character, and the reason why she used the pseudonym George Eliot and that. So I think that's really interesting. So that's the person that comes to my mind.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, the pseudonym, and it sounds kind of bonkers these days that a woman would kind of do that, but obviously, kind of her work, regardless of who wrote it, it really stands the test of time. And I can remember kind of studying her books when I was at school, and obviously that's not just a Coventry thing or a Warwickshire thing. These books are being studied across the country and probably across the globe as well, because they stand the test of time hundreds of years later.
Yeah. So I think that makes it really interesting, especially because we're so close to, the Nuneaton and that. And yeah, it's nice to have that sort of history at your doorstep.
Yeah, definitely. We've had some good writers through the years in Warwickshire. Thinking about your favourite place in Coventry and Warwickshire, you've mentioned a few places already, but what would be your favourite place?
Good question. I think, for me, it's something that's close to me is Caledon Castle Park, because I walk there nearly every day, especially in the summer. And I just like walking there. I meet different people like dog walkers and that. But sometimes I'm on my own and it's lovely just walking around, seeing the castle, thinking about the history. So for me, it's that.
Yeah, and I think over the last 10 years as well, they've made a number of improvements. There's now, a tarmacked path all the way around the park, so you can kind of truly kind of appreciate all parts of the park, whatever the weather, and some of the improvements they've made to the children's play area over the years as well makes it kind of more welcoming and more people able to utilise the space across the year.
Yeah, and they've just recently, I don't know if you know, they've added an apple orchard.
I did see that. Yeah, it's at the back, isn't it? In the back corner, that they've kind of put it on and kind of fenced it off, which is great, because it's just kind of utilising that space even more. Fantastic. In terms of hidden gems of Coventry and Warwickshire, Taruna, where would you kind of recommend people be kind of seeking out?
So there's two places that sort of stand out. I'm sure there's more. One is Bean and Leaf Coffee House, which is in the town centre on Hertford Street. And the other one's Pap's Cafe, which is on Moseley Avenue, or is it Road? I always get that confused, but it's Road or Avenue. But and that's only been open for about a month now. But really nice food there. And again, they're both independents. I try and use independence where I can, because for me, it's important to support other businesses.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a stat, isn't there, that kind of you spend in your money in local businesses, the money just stays within the local area and kind of builds up and more, rather than being spent at a chain or online, where the money just gets spread thinly to different areas. And are there any kind of recommendations in terms of the cafe, in terms of what to have?
Yeah, I just came across it. Yeah, it's a place called The Pod. So if you're vegan, it's a vegan little place on Far Gosford Street. And I only learned about it yesterday. So I thought, that'll be another place I'll try out soon.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got a number of relatives that are kind of vegan or vegetarian and stuff, so I'll have to mention it to them. Yeah, and kind of Fargo and Gosford Street is a real hub of kind of different cuisines, isn't it? So fantastic. Brilliant. I'll go into some quick fire questions for yourself now, Taruna. So first of all, can you tell us, always a difficult one, can you tell me your favourite Warwickshire town?
It's got to be Kenilworth or Leamington Spa.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, any particular reasons why?
They just both got some nice features, and because it's away from home, I think it's just nice. So they're not too far to go to.
No, it doesn't take long to reach them, and different personalities compared to Coventry and other areas as well.
Yeah.
And if you had to choose between the Memorial Park or Coombe Abbey, which would you choose?
Coombe Abbey.
Coombe Abbey, yeah. And what about West Orchards or Cathedral Lanes?
Cathedral Lanes.
Okay, is that due to the food, is it?
Yeah.
There's a theme emerging here, Taruna. Fantastic. Yeah, Cathedral Lanes has got a lot kind of wider cuisine choice with that. Thinking about different events that go on in Coventry, would you prefer to visit the Moto Fest or the Godiva Festival?
Probably the Motor Fest, because I do like cars.
Fantastic. And you mentioned both of these earlier, so which would you prefer out of the Herbert Art Gallery or the Transport Museum?
Herbert Art Gallery, because they always have some different exhibitions on, and you don't always have to pay for them. And I've seen some amazing artists, which you think, oh, wow, I'm surprised they're at the Herbert Art Gallery, and you learn something. So yeah, for me, it's the Herbert Art Gallery.
Yeah, there's been some great exhibitions on over the years at Herbert Art Gallery that, a tour in the country, and it's a great opportunity for us to see them, isn't it? And thinking about the cathedrals, do you prefer the old cathedral or the new cathedral?
The old has got a lot of character.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, fantastic. Well, that's all the questions we've got time for on today's podcast, Taruna. So it's been great to speak to you. Where can people find out more about yourself and your business?
They can visit my website, all the W's T Chauhan Consultancy. I'm on LinkedIn, so people can connect with me on LinkedIn. I also have a Facebook company page. So I'm also on Instagram. So those are all the different ways people can connect with me.
Fantastic. Lots of different ways, which is brilliant. And what we'll do is we'll put all of those links in the show notes as well, so that people can reach out. There's obviously been lots of good tips there. Great to hear about your award. So again, congratulations for that. And great to hear you have different tips and recommendations about where to go in Coventry.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on.
Perfect. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll speak again soon.